Hey guys, and welcome to Economics and Comics. So, if you're new to the channel, my name's Bill. I do a lot of comic book inside information and movie reviews with my friends that are movie critics. I'm here with Joel and Mike Massey from GoneWithTheTwins.com. If you love movies, please go check out their stuff at GoneWithTheTwins.com. Listen, we just saw Avengers Endgame, and I'm going to give you a full-on 30 seconds to leave now. This is going to be the spoiler review. In an hour, we'll have a non-spoiler movie review in 1 hour. But right now, please, if you don't want any spoilers, please leave now. This is going to have spoilers. I'm going to keep saying it. Warning, there are going to be spoilers. About an hour will be a non-spoiler review. I can say that this movie is really good, and you should think about it. Not to make you not watch this, but you should really think about waiting for the non-spoiler review. Okay. All right. So it is now time. Embargo is over, and we can discuss this movie. Thank you guys so much for taking me there.
You're
It's
welcome.
everything that I wanted out of that movie.
Like Christmas came early.
Yeah. I mean, it's extremely long, guys, and but it checks everything. It hits everything. It finds everything. It goes back and forth, and let's just get right into it. What do you guys think about, the opening sequence of the movie?
I was a little bit surprised because for people who have seen Captain Marvel, they know that Captain Marvel is going to play a huge part in this film. And the end cutscene for the Captain Marvel movie is them paging her, right? And she shows up. But in this film, they don't really tie that in. It's
There's
more
not
like,
much of a recap.
Yeah. So
if you haven't seen Infinity War in a while, you might be a little lost, I think.
Yeah, and also if you didn't stay through the end credits for the cutscene at the end of Captain Marvel, you're gonna want to have seen that. But anyway, so yeah, they get right into it. There's not really a recap. We're right off the bat with starts with Hawkeye and his family's disappearing because half the world is Thanos has snapped his fingers and half the
he got
world's gone.
super unlucky and his entire family disappears.
They
He's the
disappear at
only
a
one left.
picnic, and then that's it for that. Then it kind of, where did it go from there? I can't remember exactly. It kind of stepped right into the Avengers hideout or whatever.
Well, it starts with a weird kind of Nebula and Iron Man are like adrift.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
spaceship,
correct.
and they're dying.
It goes there, and they do the whole message.
Which is kind of interesting, right? Because here we are thinking that the main plight is that 50% of all the population has been wiped out, and yet Iron Man has even another problem. He's about to die because he's adrift in space and they're running out of oxygen.
They don't explain why he's there, do they?
Well, it's the end events of
Infinity War.
okay.
They're stuck on the planet.
So what Doctor Strange and all the other ones who disappeared, basically all the Guardians of the Galaxy died, turned into dust.
So
those two survivors, Nebula and Iron Man, are the only ones set, in space.
And they're in space, and you've seen all the video trailers, and they have that scene in there. And basically, again, if you don't want spoilers, leave again now. They're about to die, and Captain Marvel comes and saves them, and she basically brings them back to the Avengers home base like Superman would. It's pretty funny. But, they save him. And he is really, he's very weak. He looks very old. Like, he has no muscle. Like, he's been in space forever.
They actually say, once they're back at the Avengers headquarters, that it's been 23 days since Thanos.
Yeah, so he's sure. I guess it was from no food.
I guess there's stuff.
I was going to say it's almost as if he wanted to be written out of the show.
Yeah, or he wanted to get an Oscar because he really lost weight for this one. But, so... They come back, and
basically Captain Marvel, brings them back to the Avengers headquarters, and she's basically like, "Why don't we just go get Thanos right now?" Because Nebula knows where Thanos is, and because he tells her when throughout her childhood what his plans are, so she knows where he's going to be, and so I think it's Thor and Captain America and Captain Marvel. They say, "Let's just go get Thanos right now." So they go to the planet that he's hiding.
Oh yeah, they discover that so when Thanos snapped his fingers, it created like a heat signature or some kind of power signature that is identifiable. So in order to locate him, they find that there's a duplicated power signature. In other words, Thanos has reused. Oh well.
Yeah, so they go to the planet where we've seen the previews where he's got the crow. It's a suit, and it's like a scarecrow is a suit, and he's all by himself, and you can tell that his glove is completely destroyed.
Yeah.
and
he's also kind of all
yeah, he's
gnarly,
messed up.
yeah.
And that initial second snap he did was him destroying the stones.
Yeah.
So they get there and they're about to fight him, and he's like,
well, they want to know where the stones are so they can undo it.
Then he told him I destroyed him.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that's to me, it's interesting because I originally thought when they said, "Hey, our plan is let's just go find Thanos and kill him," I thought, "Oh, this is problematic, right?" Because it's too simple. That this is kind of all the predicaments from the first film was them not really having a plan. So it's a welcome surprise when they initiate this plan. They decide, let's go find Thanos, track him down, and kill him. And it's not that simple because what they really wanted to do was get the stones back. They figure if we find Thanos, we can get the stones, undo all this.
But
not that simple.
Here comes big spoiler.
Yeah, another spoiler. If you don't want to hear spoilers, wait an hour. We'll have a non-spoiler review. Thor cuts his head off.
Yeah.
Thor takes Thanos' head off. And that's it.
This is within the first 15 minutes
Yeah,
of the movie or so.
maybe 20 minutes max.
Yeah, they go straight to this planet. Thanos tells them that the stones have been destroyed, and Thor just cuts his head off.
And they basically all give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
well, the amusing complication is that because that second power signature was him destroying the stones, so now they can't simply get the stones; they're gone.
Yeah.
So
and this was actually one of the more interesting things because I didn't expect this at all. But they cut Thanos' head off, and then it goes to black, and it says 5 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's pretty.
2 weeks, 3 weeks after this initial snap, they go back, they cut his head off, and then it goes 5 years later.
Yeah. And now we see the world 5 years after half the population is gone, and it's basically crumbling. Society.
A lot of dourness, a lot of sadness.
Black Widow's barely hanging on, trying to keep some kind of semblance of order at the Avengers headquarters.
And we'll just keep going, I guess. I mean, but overall, so far in the movie, you guys, so far pretty good intro. It's bringing us back.
It's unexpected, I think. I guess I'm not really sure what.
I mean, the immediate death of him.
Yeah, no, you weren't.
Well, yeah,
I also don't expect that 5 years pass without them having come up with a plan.
I was thinking they just head on straight, go after Thanos, more battles to ensue. But in fact, it actually takes the opposite route. That the first 30 minutes to an hour, even there's almost no battle sequences because this is all about just trying to pick up the pieces and get back to
Well, and then even after that, it's all about planning. So Ant-Man.
So what's interesting is this little rat walks over his machine in the truck, and Ant-Man comes back after 5 years, but to him it's been like 5 minutes or something like that. And he comes out, and the whole world's destroyed. He didn't know anything because remember in Ant-Man 2, snaps his finger while he's in the machine, and everyone's gone. He comes back. He's afraid his daughter's dead. He goes, there's this like wall, like World Trade Center wall or memory wall or Vietnam. And, his daughter is not there, but he sees his name. He's dead. But, that's, whatever.
Anyway, so he ends up going to the Avengers headquarters. And this is where he kind of sets into motion this idea because the quantum realm, which he's been stuck in, felt to him like 5 minutes, but it's been 5 years in the rest of the world. So he's thinking...
And it's an alternate universe. It's not the universe that Thanos snapped his fingers and killed everyone. Yeah. It's an alternate universe.
So he's kind of the one that initiates this idea of, can we do something about... Can we use this quantum realm to undo what Thanos has done? And they take it to Tony Stark, Captain America and Black Widow, and the leftover people at the Avengers headquarters. They take it to Tony Stark, and he actually doesn't want to help them. And the reason is because he has moved on with Pepper Potts, and they now have a daughter.
Yeah, him and Pepper have a kid now, and they're living like Thanos was living.
Yeah,
away from everything. He was upset with Cap. He's upset with everybody, and they say, "Hey, we want to go time travel. Can we do it?" And he's like, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And they say, well, fine. And then they think, well, we know someone else who can help.
Yep. And
this is when you come to see, spoiler, Professor Hulk. Okay? Yes. It is Professor Hulk. I don't think he's lost any strength for my comic book fans out there. He's a hybrid, and he's figured out a way to connect both personalities.
Is he shown in the trailer at all? Because
no,
it's literally just Hulk with like clothes.
No, but there's pictures of him with his face that looks more like him.
Yeah.
So anyway, they do some attempts to try to do time travel. It's kind of funny little scenes. Nothing too big. But then
some moments of humor, and then
and it's really funny though. Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
They do insert humor throughout the whole film.
Yeah, even though it's dark.
Well, basically, it's a formula that they follow, but it works, and that is every time there's like a moment of drama or seriousness, right after there's something funny.
Yeah,
and it's usually pretty effective. The humor that they use. But, anyway, so after this.
They go looking for Thor, I think, don't they? Or
no, that's pretty close. Basically, what happens is Tony Stark has a change of heart, and because he actually just tinkering around in his mind, he comes up with a way to successfully time travel using the quantum realm.
Yep.
So because Professor Hulk's experiments have been failing, Tony Stark decides he can't stand by and do nothing. So he goes back to the Avengers headquarters and is going to give them the technology that they need to do the time travel. And this is at the point where they say, well, let's get the gang back together. They need to recruit all of these Avengers.
They go find Ronan.
They go get Ronan. Yeah.
And he is Ronan now, and he's kind of killing gangs and any evil type of thing.
Yeah. They also go get Thor.
And he's living
really lost his way.
New Asgard. Remember when Thor Ragnarok, they come to Earth and they set up a new Asgard? They have a new Asgard city. It's really small, but he is out of weight, out of shape. It is so funny. He looks like
the Big Lebowski.
Yeah, he looks like the Big Lebowski. It's
and
really
they even
funny.
make a joke about that. Yeah, it's pretty humorous.
He's having a hard time about it, but they finally decide that they are going to split up. Okay.
Yeah, so their plan is basically
spoilers.
Using the quantum realm technology, and it's magically just enough Pym particles to be able to all jump back in time once, and which is but it is what it is. So.
Whatever.
It's
they
a very
decide,
convenient plot device.
We're not going to give. I mean, we're going to give spoilers, but we're not going to give every single thing. Basically, they all decide to go together at one time, one chance to go different parts of time, but these different to get.
Well, the idea is to find those moments in time where the Infinity Stones are most easily acquired.
Where they all remember where the Infinity Stones were, which will take you back to different movies like Avengers, the first Avengers. I mean, Thor, the second one, Winter Soldier too. There's some really funny parts.
The three teams that one goes to New York in 2012, another team goes to Asgard in 2013, and the last team goes to Morag in 2014. So this is actually
for the Soul Stone and that other stone.
Yeah,
right?
well, they've determined where it's the easiest points to retrieve these, and on Earth, 3 Infinity Stones are all there at the same time. So anyway, they plotted this out, and this is actually for me one of the more fun parts because time travel is so tricky, but getting to see them go back in time to previous movies and kind of see former versions of themselves.
Well, they interact with scenes that actually took place in the other.
They also get mixed up with characters that they should never have met.
Yeah, you're not supposed to see yourself.
Yeah.
They go back in time with their old past. What do you think about it, Mike? I mean, the whole connecting of all the other movies.
It's amusing to see, so many different superhero movies all brought together. I was kind of reminded a little bit of that Star Trek movie where they time travel, because it's got that very lighthearted. It doesn't feel like a superhero movie in those moments because there's so much comedy going on.
Well, there's a lot of humor involved there.
Yeah.
To me, time travel is so tricky to do in movies, and it opens up such a can of worms. But here it is both. In my opinion, it's the best part of the movie and the worst part of the movie, and that is because the time travel is so much fun to see. But by the time you reach the end of the movie, there's just so many things you're thinking, well, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Why can this happen? Why can't this happen?
I'm glad that it wasn't as simple as just... So in my mind, after seeing Infinity War, I thought, well, let's just go after the time stone. We don't need any of the other stones. Just go after the time one, and you can just keep redoing whatever you want to do. I'm glad that they didn't go that route, because that's too simplistic, and maybe that's what everybody guessed as well.
So the basic theory is they're all going to go to the different times, which is really fun, stepping back to seeing the older movies, okay? Where Loki's conquering and whatever. They're going to go steal them all and come back and build a new gauntlet. And one of them has to wear it, okay? Now, some of the spoilers within that
big
time.
Spoiler here is that one of the groups is Hawkeye and Black Widow.
And they go to where the Soul Stone is.
Yeah, where Red Skull.
Yeah, and you remember when they had to make a choice. Thanos had to throw Gamora off the thing. They had to make a choice, and they're basically battled for it. And again, spoiler, Black Widow takes the final plunge, and Hawkeye wants to, or Ronan, but she stops him, and because he has a family and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
spoiler, she's
Black
dead.
Widow dies.
And so anyway, they go back, and what else happened during that time? Anything, Ronnie? Well, there's a lot of funny things within there. We're going to let you guys enjoy that.
I mean, there's a lot of parts where they essentially fail, and then they have to come up with a quick backup plan.
Yeah.
But overall, all the groups successfully get their Infinity Stones, and they transport back to Avengers headquarters.
I feel like they use all that
to
finish timelines and storylines from all the other movies. Deaths, and people get to see people for the last time.
Yeah.
They use that hour of that to
they're trying
clean
to
up all the timelines.
exactly clean it up. That's the phrase. Clean
for the
everything.
last 11, 12, 13 years, which is it's really fun to see. So okay, they're back.
Well, the
Oh,
important
one other thing.
The important takeaway is that the team that has Nebula on it,
Yes.
she is, because she's I mean, they don't really explain it too well, but because of her, robotic.
She's like a cyborg.
Yeah, she's basically like a cyborg. So the Nebula from the past is able to accidentally tap into the Nebula from the future, her like mainframe or whatever. So Thanos actually gets wind of what's going on, and he realizes that there are two nebulas, and he realizes that the Avengers have come back in time to try and stop whatever he's going to do.
Yeah, she has a short circuit.
So he realizes that he succeeds in the future.
Yeah, he can access her mind. I don't know if you said that, but he can access her computer mind, and he sees all his future. He sees he succeeded. So now he knows, because they already killed him, but in the old past timeline,
he's still. They
now he knows he wins.
The point where he's just starting to search for those Infinity Stones.
Yeah. So they try to stop him, and basically they use Nebula as they get the real Nebula, and then they use the old bad Nebula before she changes to be a mole and screw up the whole thing. Yeah. So she goes back into the present, and
then she basically gives him the coordinates to take his giant ship there. And so,
and they use the portal to travel through.
Yep.
And come.
Thanos brings his giant ship, and they immediately blow up Avengers headquarters.
But before that, basically what happens is, someone has to wear the gauntlet, and it's made out of like Iron Man's tech, where it can fit on anything, and they decide that the Hulk's going to wear it. So that's a big spoiler in regard to comic books. And it messes him up.
Yeah, severely destroys one of his arms.
Well, they decide the Hulk's the only one who could take it because he's the strongest.
Thor's the one that wants to do it, but
and what did they decide to do, Mike, on the snap itself? What was the decision that was going to be made?
So essentially what they want to do is reverse only what Thanos did. So rather than changing anything, all they're doing is bringing back half of the universe. So, we don't know exactly how this Infinity Gauntlet works.
It's pretty messy.
But basically, so he's going to snap it. But here's the thing. We're still 5 years in the future. So 5 years into the future, or present day, basically, you're bringing back billions and billions of people across the planet and inserting them into a timeline 5 years. So all these people are coming back, and they've lost 5 years of their lives, essentially. That's a little bit
strange.
But
I guess one of those things that you probably aren't supposed to think about too much.
So but then you do start thinking about it, because they do talk about after 5 years of half the people being there, the oceans are starting to clean up and stuff like that. But it's like a wasteland because there's empty homes and no one's working.
During their New York mission, they actually run into Tilda Swinton, her character, and she basically explains to Professor Hulk that there's only one timeline. Unless you destroy or do something to the Infinity Stones, that causes the timelines to break off into other ones. So that's opening up another can of
we're not going to go there, but they get all the stones. So basically, he snaps. All the people come back, but not they're not all surrounding the Avengers place. We know everyone comes back. Anyone that died in the snap at that very moment comes back 5 years later. So they come back to a whole nother world. So everyone, Spider-Man, everyone's alive.
Yep.
Except for people that died
up to the snap.
To the snap. So
Loki, if you died before the snap, you're still dead.
Loki's gone.
Yeah, Black Widow's gone. The other interesting one is that Gamora is still dead. However, Thanos brings his time version of Gamora with him.
Gamora comes back through the past.
So it's the wrong Gamora.
It's the wrong Gamora, but she decides to help them anyways. I guess she's always been good inside somewhere, I guess.
Yeah. So then ensues a giant...
Well, a 35-minute, just the most colossal battle imaginable, right?
No Vision as well. He died before the snap.
Yeah. But this finale, of course, is what everybody's been waiting for, and in a lot of ways it pays off, and not in the actual fighting, because the fighting very much mirrors things we saw in Infinity War. It mirrors things we saw in the first two Avengers movies. But what's really cool is when they introduce new people. So you've got the current Avengers, the ragtag team, and then portals start opening up, and you end up getting characters that you were previously dead coming to help, and that's where the real excitement I think comes from.
It's kind of it's an amalgamation of all of these different battles all coming together. You've got
everybody, Valkyrie on the Pegasus.
You have the 6-armed or 4-armed dog type monsters from the previous one that Thanos bring. They also bring those giant mechanical dragons from
Yeah,
the New
because he
York
has all his
yeah.
original army.
And the ship, is shooting down missiles and stuff. There's just
but it's
a lot of battling
it's the
going on.
biggest war there is. Everyone that died came back. They all come together at one time. They're not on different planets. They all go against Thanos. He's trying to get that. He's got a sword.
It's for me too. It was fun to see the Black Order is back because he brings them in their timeline they're not dead yet. So the Black Order is down there fighting with them, and so if you want to,
what's
spoilers of
what's
some of the cool
really
battles.
interesting about it is that I didn't see anybody. There's no X-Men. There's no anybody. There's
new people.
Everyone's waiting for that. I didn't see anybody in that lineup. It was all the original movies all together. So no Wolverine or no Deadpool.
Do you want to?
I'll talk
some
about
of the cool battle sequences.
Yeah, I'll do it really quick. We got 200 people in here.
Oh, okay.
So basically, what happens next is during the fight scene, that was pretty badass. Still, he's whooping everyone's ass. Captain Marvel's got a buzz cut. She's pretty tough. All this stuff.
Thanos even breaks Captain America's shield.
Breaks his shield. Oh, but before that though, it happens. Oh, we forgot when Thor went back to get his stone or whatever. Before he left that timeline, he got his hammer. So now he has his hammer and Stormbreaker. So what happens? Thor's fighting with both of them. He loses the hammer. Captain's getting his ass kicked. Cap picks up the hammer, dude. And I'm telling you, it's badass. It's at least 3 good solid minutes of the shield and the home. Yeah, people are going crazy. And that's just for all you guys, it's a Thor 390. Anyway, so they fight and they just keep losing. So what do you think, Mike, about the whole fight scene? I know there's a lot of CG, but man, it was a lot of stuff.
The sheer spectacle of it. Yeah. There's a lot to admire going on. Just the logistics of bringing all of these characters, because you get Captain Marvel coming in there too, you Doctor Strange, all of these characters that we hadn't seen earlier in the film. They all come together for this climactic battle. I will say though that there's a lot of repetition because you're dealing with immortal kind of characters, people who are very much impervious to harm, and they're fighting each other. So you're not going to see I don't know. Nobody's getting the kind of harm that I don't know that would create kind of
even when the entire Avengers headquarters is blown up and collapses. Yeah, nobody died.
Yeah, I mean,
even none of them even get hurt.
Even Rocket, he's like under a piece of cement or something, and they just pull it aside and he crawls out. And I'm like, boy, that guy you'd think would have just been
well. Hawkeye. How did Hawkeye survive?
In other words, basically everybody's still virtually invincible. But having said that, it's fun to see.
Oh yeah,
it's a culmination of so many movies,
orchestrated action sequence.
And so what happened? What I didn't know is, Hulk. The building was Hulk was holding a building, kind of like the old Secret Wars cover where he's holding this building to save everybody. But I didn't really see him fight.
No, he is strangely absent from the large portion of that fight sequence.
Yeah, really weird. I thought maybe there'd been some parts, but everyone as a team is trying to get the gauntlet to the time machine.
It's all there. Basically, half of this 35-minute battle is kind of keep away.
It's like rugby.
They're keeping the gauntlet away, but which is kind of fun because they basically pass the gauntlet off to each of the different.
So everybody gets
a turn with
they're running,
running with the gauntlet. So it's fun.
Oh, and you mentioned the Valkyrie on the horse, right? They pass it to her, so she gets to fly around with it. So even these background characters, right? Because Valkyrie has virtually no role in the first Infinity War, right? I didn't even see her in there. And then this film, she actually gets an action scene. So
yeah, because they all die and they come back and they get to fight and stuff. But inevitably, he gets the.
Well, I'll let you spoil the thing with.
Oh man, that's a hard one.
But the evil Nebula, they kill her. So.
Yeah. So
Nebula
kills Nebula.
Yeah. So we're back down to one Nebula, and there's still Gamora, but it's the wrong Gamora.
Yeah,
but she understands. She fights with them against.
So it's kind of like
it's her.
Same Gamora.
It's the past, but she was always protecting the Soul Stone from the beginning, from them. So anyway, gets down to it is Thanos gets the gauntlet again, and they're trying to make it so he won't snap his fingers again.
Captain Marvel's actually one of the biggest parts of this battle to prevent him from snapping his fingers again.
What's interesting, though, is she comes for briefly at the beginning, and then at the very end, she could have been there helping a lot sooner.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised how little Captain Marvel's in this movie.
It's interesting.
And I had heard some rumors that there were more scenes with her, so it's possible some stuff got cut.
Such is the nature, though, of a lot of these kind of superhero movies, is if they don't create plot devices to keep her out of the action. I mean, theoretically, she could have just killed Thanos within 10 minutes, movie over, right? So in order to draw out the suspense,
I mean, that to me, that was one of the more interesting sequences, is when she is one-on-one fighting Thanos, and he thinks he can just easily beat her up, and no, she really like
he whips some ass at first,
yeah,
but then she like turns on her strength or something. I don't know. Anyway,
well, she's, you know, probably one of the
and the same thing too with Scarlet Witch gets kind of a showdown.
Oh
moment,
yeah, she gets her
and she's
payback.
just
She's a
as
badass.
tough as Thanos, which is fun, right? It's fun to see that character, go toe to toe with Thanos, because this is a character whose powers are ill defined. We don't really know what she's capable of, but she's obviously really, really tough.
We know one thing: Thanos is a badass.
Yeah,
That
Thanos,
doesn't matter.
it's not fair, right? Thanos,
Yeah.
for some
Even
reason,
without the
can just
gauntlet.
fight all.
Yeah,
of them,
even without the gauntlet,
He was
he
whooping
takes
the
on
whole
like 3 or
4 or
4
5 of
Avengers.
them.
Yeah, all the same time.
So it's a we got 360 people in here. I want to thank you guys for coming. We're almost done. If you missed the beginning, please go back. If you're coming in and you're like, oh my gosh, this is spoilers, in an hour we'll have a non-spoiler review. But we're gonna try to really quickly, not too quick, close up here.
Yeah.
So basically,
so this is at the very end of this giant long 35-minute battle. Who finally gets the gauntlet?
yeah. So real quick, Doctor Strange looks at Iron Man because he can't. Doctor Strange can't tell him if anything or it'll fail. He looks at Iron Man and he goes like this, like something like this, like you're the one or something. Iron Man goes, he uses his like ectoplasm, whatever, body armor, and he sucks the gems out. Thanos goes for the snap, and he doesn't have the gems anymore. Iron Man does. And then Iron Man snaps.
Yeah, so Iron Man basically has the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. So Hulk wore it and Iron Man wore it. So he snaps and gets rid of the whole Thanos, the whole army.
Yeah. So
all
this
the bad
snap
people.
isn't about undoing anything or wiping
No
out.
undoing.
It's simply removing Thanos and all of his minions. So
they brought everyone back that had been gone for 5 years to the current time period because they had to do that for whatever reason. And
so they were very
got rid of
insistent
everybody.
on not undoing those 5 years, because
But Iron Man dies.
Yeah,
Spoiler.
The
It's
Infinity
too much.
Gauntlet is too much
Too
for
much
him.
for it,
so,
yeah.
I mean, his reactor helped him for a while. I'm guessing that's why he could hold it for that long. But he died. Spoiler. So we got Black Widow, Iron Man, and the past Nebula, which is really
did
weird.
you cry, Bill? Did you cry when Iron Man died?
No, but it was really touching. The whole movie was really well done.
Yeah,
And then
they put some emotion and heart into it.
so then there's a funeral scene and all that, and you see everybody that's involved with all the movies. There is one thing I saw that I wasn't sure. It was oh no, we'll skip that. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, to comment on that close, right? You have this enormous battle, all of this action, all this fervor, and then they do the Lord of the Rings, Return of the King kind of thing, where there's so many sub endings, right? So it's this falling action, but it just keeps going and going and going. And I get that they're trying to wrap up loose ends, but there was all this momentum, and they just let it go. So by the time you finally reach the final ending, you're just left with.
For me, I think there's a funeral scene where you get to see all of the characters
You get to see
at
everybody.
Tony Stark's funeral, and I think that's enough. That would
Right.
be fine because
Yeah.
it's it's moving. It's that you get to see all the characters there. So I think that they could have left it at that. But
Well, he was the start. And he
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
the finish. I know Captain America was kind of the start too, but Iron Man was the first movie.
Yeah.
So that happens. Then there was a little mix up on the closing scenes. So again, I didn't see any new characters introduced. So they might have taken that out because it's a big thing. But what did happen was they decided Captain America would go back in time and bring all the stones back to their original timelines, so everything stayed the same, except that they got rid of Thanos and all his army, and the people survived. And they're doing the thing to send him back. He'll be back in 5 seconds, no matter how long he's there. When they bring him back, he's not there. So they show Cap on a bench, and they look over at Sam, Falcon, and Winter Soldier, and they see him on a bench right there, and he's lived the whole time.
Yeah. So to clarify, Captain America, instead of going back and just giving the stones back to their rightful place, he also stayed in that timeline so that he could live out his normal life starting from the 40s, 50s, right? So that he could pick up where he lost it. So
With
in other
Agent
words,
Carter.
right. So rather than being frozen for 70 years or whatever it was, he just goes back and lives out his regular life. Yeah. So now in present day, he's an old man. Yeah.
And he passes on the shield.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene where at the very end it's got Bucky and Sam, and it's like, who's going to be the next Cap? Is it going to be the Falcon or Winter Soldier? Because it happens both in comic books. It ends up being, spoiler, the Falcon. So, and Cap's old too. I mean, don't get me wrong. After that, I think that's it. Now I've heard rumor
that
they
do show a quick scene, but now this might be post credits. We saw it prior to the credits, but it's just a scene of Captain America dancing
as a young man back in the 40s,
they look
50s,
back and
with
they're
Agent
married.
Carter.
But I've heard rumors that there's another credit scene where they're all standing there and they all bow.
Yeah. So at our particular screening, there was nothing after the credits. Now this is because in assembling the various prints or the various digital prints, I guess, that they send out to different places, not everybody's going to get to see the exact same thing. What is it? The LA premiere, I think, was last night, and they probably had an extra cut scene. But it was, Bill, you mentioned it wasn't a story.
What I heard was the whole Captain America part with the tossing of the shield and all that. That was the extra cut scene, and it's about 5 minutes long. But it looks like they put it at the end of the movie instead. And then but we did not see any spoilers for a new villain like they talked about. Now they might have pulled it for full release,
right, for theatrical
release, for the actual release, and that's fine. That's great. At least overall. Thank you guys for coming. I love the movie. Now this will be reposted in a second, so you can watch it in full, so you can get all the spoilers. But what'd you guys think? I mean, I'm a big comic guy. I mean, this was all the movies in. There's a finale for all of them.
Yeah, well, I mean,
except Thor.
We have seen all of the Marvel movies that basically this is coming together.
21 films. Leading up to the 22nd film.
Even if I think maybe a lot of people aren't fans of every single one of them, just getting to see all of these characters together is so much fun.
Yeah, get on screen at the same time, or trading off. It's very interesting. The sheer logistics of trying to get so many superheroes together. Yeah. It's quite amusing.
In the end credits, every character gets his own little
really
signature,
cool.
And they show that, and it goes on forever because there's so many big stars, so many big characters in this film.
Yeah, it's quite a feat to be able to put all of this together.
Yeah.
Now, as for stories and plots, and this is half a movie. How do you critique that? It's tough. It's not standalone by any means. Nobody could just go into you kind of have to see 21 films leading up to it.
What's so great about it is that not only did they finish Infinity War, okay, but they finish all the other movie timelines.
Right.
Everything that we're like, oh man, that sucked in all these different movies, they go back. They have the ability to go back and complete this. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece of 11, 12 years worth of films. You can't deny it. Oh yeah, Stanley's in it too, guys. Yeah, Stanley's in it too. He's like some hippie, and he's like love and rock and roll or something driving by the army base. Cameos, it's really funny.
Yeah, his cameos can't really have anything to do with storylines anymore though, because they were all filmed prior to his death, so they didn't know exactly how so they're all just throwaways.
But he's young though in it.
Yeah,
he's like the original Stan Lee we used to read. But look, guys, hey, thank you so much, Bueller. I really appreciate the super chat. If you guys want to watch a non-spoiler, about 30 minutes from now, we're going to repost this now so you can catch the beginning. We can't go over it all again with you, but it's all in there. So you guys, thank you so much. This was a big deal for me, and I really appreciate it, and hopefully we can keep on doing this stuff. Any last words? Go check them out at GoneWithTheTwins.com.
Don't forget to subscribe.
And please sub my channel. I would really appreciate it. Besides that, we love you guys, and we'll see you next time, okay?